We're starting to come up to the conclusion that this was not internal fraud, that the company had been hacked. Alex, you thought you were talking to me and I thought I was talking to you, but it turns out that we both were talking to Igor and we didn't know, right? One of the things that I did was I told the company, you need to engage a lawyer. I need a lawyer to come in and review all this, right? There's this one case I got called to assist because he had started as an internal fraud investigation, and a very seasoned fraud investigators realized or were starting to come up to the conclusion that this was not internal fraud, that the company had been hacked, right? So we go in, and again, this may sound silly right now, but this is a few years ago, but go in and it was early on days of business email compromise. And what had happened is actually quite an intertwined number of exchanges, and the attacker assuming the persona, so he or she was playing both sides, and they were keeping them engaged, so and disconnected essentially, because they lost communication. They didn't know that they were not talking. Alex, you thought you were talking to me and I thought I was talking to you, but it turns out that we both were talking to Igor and we didn't know, right? Again, maybe right now that happens still, but it's not sophisticated. Back then it was, wow, this is happening, and the level of communication was good at the beginning as always, but then it was quite sloppy towards the end. But ultimately they got quite a few millions out of this company, right? So we complete the exercise, we go to present, and then there's a board member, a non-executive, who just pretty much went at me and started saying I didn't know what I was talking about, that this was clear case of fraud, that this was the involvement of this person. They were trying to blame the people that had in their side been involved in the communications, and that created quite a disastrous meeting with very senior people. And I was taken aback by that. So to me, it was like, oh my God, and I went fully prepared for that meeting. I wasn't expecting to have this person turn on me and, start saying all of that. But we had to go through the review of everything that we had done and say, no, the conclusions are the conclusions. So that links to that point about the boards. Not everybody is engaged, and sometimes somebody wants to be the smartest person in the room, and that's what that person was trying to do, right? And to me, going back to the differences between the US and Europe, there was no lawyer in the room. One of the things that I did was I told the companies, you need to engage a lawyer. I need a lawyer to come in and review all this, right? And the lawyer came in and reviewed. So now the next meeting, I had a lawyer next to me. And that to me kind of reinforced that, that you need to be an ally. The lawyers are your allies, right? Mm-hmm. So that's number one. Number two was, again, about the recurrence. So then what happened is that we start going through more historical data. Well, it turns out this company has suffered more or less the same thing 2 years back. Different scheme, but still, business email compromise. And, that was the aha moment, because we took that and, oh my God. And then, the next meeting was like, well, it turns out this is not the first time that happens to you. It happened before. And why you didn't have knowledge. That says something about your governance structure and your communication channels, etc. But the facts are the facts. This happened. You went to the police. Here's the report and all of that. So that case, not very sophisticated now, but back then, I think a peculiarity was that one of the users' credentials to the Microsoft 365 instance, I think it was through a fake voicemail, or one of those you get the email, again, very common right now, but we're talking maybe 5-6 years ago, they got an email, or you got a voicemail, and the guy went and got the voicemail. No, to listen to the full message, you need to input your user ID, your password. That's how they got into their mailbox, right?